How's it going, YouTube? My name is LBNinja7, your resident Mistweaver Monk, and guys, today I'm making a video for the subset of the Mistweaver community that only plays the caster build. So I know that there are basically, there are a bunch of different builds that you can take, but there's two main ones that stand out, one more than the other, and that would be the traditional fist weaving, ancient teachings, Phaline build. So I'll call that the fist weaving build, even though I know that these terms are kind of outdated at this point. And then there's the caster build. So this is just focusing more on doing most of your healing through casting spells, thus the caster name. So you do that through Invigorating Mist, Vivifies, Enveloping Mist, and Yu'lon instead of Chi-Ji, just traditional ways like that to do your healing. So we're going to be focusing on that build. We're going to talk about the 10.2 changes and how they affect that build in particular, and then we're going to talk about some things that could happen to make this build meta. Now I will say, I'll just say it right off the bat, I don't think that any of these changes impact the caster build more than they impact the fist weaving build, to a point where the caster build could be the new meta. But I do like to talk about this build because there are just a lot of people that play it, and I think that they deserve the representation as well. This build does get outperformed in Mythic Plus by the fist weaving build, the traditional fist weaving build, just because in Mythic Plus there is a race against a clock. So there will always be, as much as most healers hate it, there will always be a necessity of a certain amount of damage coming from the healer. So this build is in that sense suboptimal, but it does have its strengths that make it fun to play, make it very engaging, and make it still be able to compete at a slightly competitive level, even if, lower than the normal fist weaving build can push. But without further ado, let's just jump into it. I always have to put those disclaimers because I don't want anyone to think that I am saying that this build is better than its counterpart and to be misled, like new players especially. But I just like putting that in there, but let's just jump into it. As we know, I'm not going to go through every single change here because I've already read these changes. These are the changes that are coming to Mistweaver in 10.2. So your Life Cocoon's getting buffed, Soothing Mist is getting buffed, Misty Peaks got nerfed, and Enveloping Mist got buffed. Our Vivify's direct healing got buffed, but also its cleave healing gets buffed a little bit. However, if you go beyond 5 targets of cleaving, it'll get reduced slightly. Now, also, our raid build was playing Clouded Focus, so that was a big staple in the caster build in Mythic Plus. This also got nerfed just because it was so powerful in the raid build, but it's obvious it's honestly not that gutting to the caster build. So at the baseline, there is a lot of great stuff in this specifically for the caster build. So Vivify's direct healing, so the healing if you're just picking, say, your tank and letting the Invigorating Mist cleave onto your DPS and yourself, this is huge. Buffing the direct healing by Vivify by 30%. Like I said earlier, this is more of like a whack-a-mole play style. So whoever you click on and cast heals on, that's their main source of healing that you're giving them. We don't have Awakened Phaline, we don't have Ancient Teachings to do the healing, so Vivify is going to just be hitting harder, so great stuff there. Also, this nerf to Invigorating Mist, like I said, it just does not come up in Mythic Plus. I guess unless there's some weird case where there's pets stealing some Renewing Mist and you have 6 targets, but for the most part, you're going to have 5 targets with Renewing Mist, especially if you're running Rapid Diffusion, which you almost always do because that talent's amazing. So you're going to have at least, or at most, 5 Renewing Mist out. So you're basically just going to get full value out of this Invigorating Mist buff. So all in all, those are great changes to Vivify, which is already the main source of this playstyle's healing. Next up, the Soothing Mist heal. Now, obviously Soothing Mist is technically it's one of our weaker hots, since it's just, in most playstyles, it's almost never worth it to sit there and channel this, except if you're doing the raid build, the ramping, and just capitalizing on all those Renewing Mists. But in Mythic Plus, you'll never see a fist weaver stop their spinning crane kick or stop their tiger palm blackout kick cycle to just sit there and channel a Soothing Mist, unless someone desperately needs single target spot healing. They just won't channel this for a lot of time because the Soothing Mist hot itself is not that great. However, in the caster build, you almost always are channeling Soothing Mist, unless you're really trying to still push your caster Mistweaver damage. But for the casual, most of the caster playstyle, they're just sitting somewhere just channeling a Soothing Mist. So this buff is actually very nice, like I said, especially if you're pumping into a tank. This buff, this Vivify buff, mixed with this Soothing Mist buff will be excellent. It's honestly excellent buffs coming to this playstyle. And then next up, we have the Enveloping Mist healing. Now, Enveloping Mist is already like a very hard-hitting hot, and most people that play this playstyle take Tear of Mourning and don't take Rising Mist. So you really can only get so much healing out of each Enveloping Mist, but this buff is just very nice because this playstyle, they usually take Clouded Focus so that your Thunder Focus Tea empowers 2 spells, and they used both of those Thunder Focus Teas during a Yulon ramp to really quickly apply those bursty Enveloping Mist heals. So all in all, this playstyle is seeing some very good changes in a lot of their healing sources. Next up, we'll talk about Clouded Focus. Now, Clouded Focus, just like it brings a ton of power into the ramping playstyle of our raid build, it also brought a lot of power into this casting playstyle. Like I said, you Soothing Mist a tank with a bunch of Renewing Mist out, and you're slamming Vivifies into the tank. Those Vivifies are just gaining power. And since you're channeling Soothing Mist so often, you're swapping targets of your Soothing Mist. So your first Vivify, not a lot of people know this, but your first Vivify after you cast Soothing Mist, so that very first one in the Soothing Mist channel, is still boosted by now 15%. It was 20%. So that's a slight nerf. It is a negative. However, when you weigh it against the 30% buff of the direct healing from Vivify, it's actually not that bad. And the Clouded Focus, yes, this is a pretty major nerf, especially if you let it get up to 3 stacks, where now it will be 45% bonus healing instead of 60% bonus healing. Still, weighing that against all the redistribution of power, there's a lot of power in these other spells that you're going to be pressing, to where Clouded Focus will still get a lot of value, but yes, it'll feel weaker, but it will be less noticeable since those heals are just going to be doing more healing. And then next up, let's go and talk about the tier set and how this affects this play style. So Renewing Mist and its jumps, this has been removed, the and its jumps part. So whenever you apply Renewing Mist, or a source like Rapid Diffusion applies Renewing Mist, they will gain a second buff called Chi Harmony that lasts 8 seconds. And then pairing that with this force set, that buff, that Chi Harmony buff, is basically like a bucket that person holds for 8 seconds. And that Chi Harmony is gonna buff the healing that person is taking by 50% from you. And then any healing that you do, it still says, these are outdated notes, it still says 15%, but that is now 20%. So 20% of all the healing that you do to that target that has the buff, while they're holding that bucket, while they have that Chi Harmony buff on them, they will then at the end of that, or whenever you hand them a new bucket, they're gonna splash that bucket, or basically that buff is gonna pop and heal everyone that currently has a Renewing Mist on them. So like I said earlier, if you're playing Rapid Diffusion, you're gonna have a ton of Renewing Mist out. You should still have most, if not all of the party, the 5-man party, blanketed by Renewing Mist, so this Chi Harmony is just gonna pop. Now let's go ahead and talk about this Chi Harmony. I've made a couple videos, so if you want to watch those, they are my most recent videos about 10.2 and about this tier set. But to put it simply, this Chi Harmony buff is very buggy in its current iteration. Now we're still like a month out, and I've had people ask me, Chris, why are you making videos about the 10.2 stuff when it's not set in stone? There's still a lot of bugs known, a lot of things that just are not working with this tier set. Why are you making videos like this? Well, it's just, honestly, it's just to talk about how it's performing now, and then also to bring awareness to some of those bugs. So one of the things that people have noticed about this Chi Harmony bucket, or this buff that that a player is holding, is it's not capturing a lot of the sources. And if you look here, it says 15%, or basically nowadays it says 20% of all healing you do to targets with Chi Harmony. So although it says of all the healing, there are a lot of sources that just do not work. And I'll flash the list of known stuff on the screen now. This list has changed a bit. There are more stuff added specifically to the no column, but there's just a lot of stuff that is not being stored. Namely, two of the biggest things are Awakened Phaeline and Ancient Teachings. The healing that you do from those talents, your damaging fist weaving talents, is not currently being stored in your force set. And that is one thing that people were super excited about, myself included, coming into 10.2, is whenever you do your spinning crane kick while you have Renewing Mist out, that's gonna be stored. And then it's gonna pop and do a big burst heal and just help you out in the healing by a lot. But unfortunately, it's just not working that way. It's just not working with our force set. Same with, guys, I'm so sorry to ruin this for you, but same with Invigorating Mist healing. So say that you have, just hypothetical, you have a Renewing Mist on everyone that is set to pop or end at the same exact time. You pick your tank to Soothing Mist and you start spamming Vivifies, and everyone also has Chi Harmony. The Vivifies that are going into your tank, those are going to be stored by the 4 set. Those will be stored by the 4 set. However, the Cleave healing, that Invigorating Mist healing that's going onto the DPS, onto yourself even, those will not be stored in your bucket. You'll just miss those. You'll try to catch them, you'll just miss them, unfortunately. So those are 2, or I guess technically 3 major sources of healing that just are not working with the tier set. But like I said, Vivify is working. A lot of the caster build, a lot of that is working. And then there's one term that I'm trying to coin myself, but it's whenever you chase random procs. So like when Rapid Diffusion, say you Enveloping Mist your tank, and then Rapid Diffusion applies a Renewing Mist to, say, Charlie the Hunter, okay? Then your next person that you Soothing Mist and start channeling Vivifies to cleave off of, it will be the Hunter, since they now have that Chi Harmony. They randomly got a Chi Harmony placed on them, so you chase that Chi Harmony, you chase that random proc, you start pumping into them. This playstyle loves that, loves this new tier set, how many free Renewing Mists you're going to get, how many free Chi Harmonies you're going to get. As long as you really manage your Renewing Mist and make sure that there's always at least one, then this playstyle will get a lot of value out of the Chi Harmony buffs and the Chi Harmony popping. A lot of value out of this bonus heal. This bonus heal is insane, 15%. It's performing, the 2 sets performing so well, but this playstyle will just get a lot more healing out of the 4 set than the alternate, the main playstyle, the Fist Weaving playstyle. So those are all the changes coming to the 10.2 caster build. But what's the one thing I didn't talk about? Well, unfortunately, it's still the main issue with this build. It's just the hole that they have, the void in this playstyle. It's damage. You'll notice here that there are no changes to damage. The only technical change that you could argue works with damage is Ancient Concordance now freeing you up a point to put elsewhere, but this build, this caster playstyle, just does not use that. These basically mean nothing, and all you're left with is just healing sources, the numbers being tweaked, whether it be buffs or nerfs. Just healing is going to be buffed, and the playstyle already didn't struggle a lot with getting the healing done. It's just, if you ever wanted to see this playstyle become the go-to playstyle, you would need some major source of damage to come in. So why am I making this video now, and why am I even talking about this? Well, now's where the video gets fun. We've talked about what's changing, but let's talk about how could they do that, or why would they do that. And I actually, those of you who are very observant might have noticed that there is some music playing in the background, and it's from my game. I am in Torghast. Okay, why am I in Torghast? Well, there is actually an anima power that has kind of just like loomed over the Mistweaver player base, kind of like ominously appeared randomly in some notes that I'll show you guys, and that is Corrosive Dosage. So it reads, Vivify leaves a corrosive mist around the target it heals, dealing 50% of its healing as nature damage to nearby enemies for 1 second, or every 1 second for 3 seconds. So basically, anyone that you Vivify will now be coated in this corrosive acid. They'll basically be a walking puddle of acid. Any enemies that stand in it will just melt away. And in Torghast, not a lot of people know this. I'll just Vivify myself and kill this thing. But not a lot of people know this, but how I made a lot of my gold in Shadowlands was by selling Torghast runs, as cringe as that is. But there were a lot of people that had alts, freshly geared alts that they really wanted to get legendaries on, and I would literally just, you know, run through it with Mistweaver because you would go so fast. You could pull an entire wing around a corner, everyone would come and collect onto you, and you just spam Vivify on yourself, healing yourself, while also doing a ton of damage. It was sick. Now, why am I talking about this talent? Well, we're talking about the caster build and how they just need some form of damage option, and this is the one that I thought a lot of Mistweavers thought we were just getting. You'll see here, here's a forum post from June 14th. Maybe this was 2020, I think it was this year. But looks like Mistweaver is getting Corrosive Dosage. Now, just really quick before anyone gets confused, we are not getting it. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because it has been very confusing, some patch notes in the past, but it would be a great idea. This person thought oh, not this one. This one said, I hope we get it back. I didn't play Shadowlands, but neat. This person said, I hope not. I hate how broken and stupid it was. Yes, it was, but this, OMG, this would be awesome. So a lot of people misread these notes, and I'll pull them up here. But a lot of people misread these notes thinking that Corrosive Dosage was actually going to come to Mistweaver in 10.1.5. Myself included. If you go back and watch my patch notes, I kind of look at these notes and I'm like, wait a second, why are we mentioning Corrosive Dosage? This was my favorite Torghast talent or ability. Why are we talking about it? Why is it in the notes? And I think it was just like, I honestly could not tell you what these mean. Honestly, I've studied these and I just do not know. I think it was just changing how much damage it does, because they were like, yeah, although Shadowlands is over, there's still some people like doing mount runs in Torghast. Maybe we should bring down the power of Corrosive Dosage. But a lot of people saw this, they data mined it and found it in like in the script of like PTR and stuff, and thought, wow, Mistweaver's getting Corrosive Dosage. Unfortunately, we did not. But this is what I want to talk about. If they were to add Corrosive Dosage to our talent tree, it would be insane. It would be so good for Mistweavers. Now, for those of you who played a ton of specs during Shadowlands, I mean, come on, it lasted half of our lives at this point. Hopefully you played some alts, and one of them that I played was Resto Shaman, and you'll probably remember the Torghast talent Acid Rain. They basically put down Healing Rain, which is just a big circle. It just rains on your allies and heals them. However, now it's raining acid, so it will heal your allies and do damage to anyone in them. And if you remember back in Torghast, this was like broken. It basically worked like Corrosive Dosage, where now the healer was doing like insane damage, insane AoE damage. So it was such a fan favorite that they brought it in here. Now, I know a lot of shamans did not like this, but they brought it and put it on our actual Dragonflight talent tree. This is the actual Resto Shaman talent tree. Now, when they added it, it was still very strong, so they've tweaked it down a lot, and I do believe that if they were to do that with Mistweaver, if they were to give us Corrosive Dosage, it would probably be broken. They'd probably have to tweak it down a lot. But this shows that they do these kind of things. They add in these cool Torghast talents that we liked to kind of give classes like Resto Shaman, who honestly does not even need damage, and they just give it to them in the form of Acid Rain. So let's talk about, first off, why would they do this? So Mistweaver as a whole, the Fist Weaving, the normal Ancient Teachings, Phaeline playstyle, they do a ton of damage for a healer. It's not like the most a healer can do, but it's very competitive. They can do like a very good damage in a Mythic Plus key. So technically, the Fist Weaving playstyle does not need anything like Corrosive Dosage. It does not need that. However, if they were trying to kind of like nod to us like Caster Mistweaver players in all these changes, saying like, yeah, let's kind of like buffing Vivify Direct Healing, buffing Invigorating Mist by 25%. If they were trying to make these better and make the caster playstyle just a little bit stronger in Mythic Plus, then why not give them, like, fill in that void, that hole in the playstyle, the one glaring issue that playstyle has, and give them something that does damage, something that still works with their playstyle but gives them damage. So basically what I'm trying to say is, like, instead of adding a talent that just buffed Spinning Crane Kick's damage, that would inherently buff the Fist Weaving playstyle while also giving, yes, this build playstyle and build a little bit more damage, they should add something like Corrosive Dosage. That would buff, give them damage in a way that they can use it without still having to just like weave as much as possible in melee to try to eke out any bit of damage that they can. And now I really quickly want to address, I know that this video was supposed to be all about 10.2 and how it's changing this, but this is just something that's been fresh on my mind, and I wanted to give it its own video, but I figured it would just be best to add it into this video, so I'm sorry if you don't like where this video is going. But anyways, back to the video. So how could you give it to the caster playstyle while not giving it to the fist weaving playstyle? Because if you gave this to the fist weavers, they would use their vivacious vivification buff every 10 seconds, cast a free vivify on the tank, and just get crazy AoE damage, because they could just spinning crank kick and still do a ton of damage while also doing a ton of healing with Awakened Phalanx. So how could you basically put that on the talent tree while not giving it technically to fist weavers? And I think the answer actually lies on somewhere like the Resto Druid talent tree. Now, there's probably plenty of other examples like this, but one thing that I noticed whenever I play around on my Druid is the Convoke the Spirits. As you know, Convoke the Spirits is such an amazing talent. It just, you cast a bunch of abilities all at once, and then this actually splits a node with their Tree of Life. So when they basically become that tree form and do like boosted healing and all their abilities get bonused. So you basically have the option to choose Convoke the Spirits or Tree of Life. But you'll notice down here, there are talents that buff, they split. If you took Convoke the Spirits, now Cenarian's Guidance will buff your Convoke the Spirits. But if you took Tree of Life, Cenarian's Guidance or Cenarius Guidance would buff your Incarnation Tree of Life. So I think that this could be a solution to where they could add something like Corrosive Dosage that could add a bunch of damage to the caster playstyle while also not just inherently buffing the shit out of fist weaving, giving them a bunch more AoE damage that they don't really need. And I think it could be down here. Now, what I mean by that is I think that they could make Phalanx Stomp be a split node with Corrosive Dosage. So now you either, if you're fist weaving, you're still gonna take, I would think, you're still gonna take Phalanx Stomp so that you still have access to the strength of Awakened Phalanx. And then if you wanted to play as the nowadays more casual playstyle, but what would probably become a lot more competitive if they added Corrosive Dosage, you would take that here. Corrosive Dosage would be taken over Phalanx Stomp. And then now these talents that come after Phalanx that just buff Phalanx, they could behave like this talent, where it buffs whatever talent you chose before it. So I need to just close that. I keep clicking it. But so if you take Corrosive Dosage, maybe this talent says like your Corrosive Dosage now also adds a puddle that heals whoever stands in it. So now it's just like your Vivify will leave acid puddle underneath them, and then it'll do a little bit of damage, and then anyone, like if your tank stays standing in that puddle, then they'll be healed by a little bit or something. And then down here, this could just say like it could stay Awakened Phalanx, but if you took Corrosive Dosage, your Corrosive Dosage could now just be boosted by 10%. And all these numbers could be adjusted. Like Corrosive Dosage doesn't have to be able to solo bosses like it can in Torghast, but if it were just like an extra bonus bit of healing that now all of a sudden the caster playstyle has, then the caster playstyle would not be memed on or laughed at by a lot of the top key pushers as like a meme playstyle or just a suboptimal thing like it technically currently is. I hope that I didn't lose you guys in that by just kind of saying like, oh, well, here's the 10.2 changes, but also here's a change that I would like to see. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I figured I might as well lump both of these ideas or both of these videos talking about how 10.2 has affected the caster build while also talking about a change that I think the caster build needs to see. I thought lumping those into one video would be best since I have you all here, you know what I mean? But that's gonna do it for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, or if you agree with me that Corrosive Dosage should be added in somewhere like this to where the caster build gets access to it while not having to sacrifice anything, whereas the fist weaving playstyle doesn't always, they don't really have the option to take it over something like Phalanx. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that it should be like this? Let me know down below. And then also, are you excited to still be playing Caster Monk in 10.2? Now, admittedly, I did not have a lot of time to test the dungeons when I was doing my testing last week. I was very busy last week. I did test the raid build. It still plays very well, and I tested some dungeons as Fistweaver, but I did not have a lot of time to test as the caster playstyle, admittedly. But I'm excited to get in there because I think these changes are a step. Did I just close them? I guess I just closed them, but they're just a step in the right direction for the caster playstyle. I still don't think that this playstyle will outshine or even come close to the Fistweaver build just because it lacks damage. But I hope that you guys enjoyed my resolution to that issue, or my solution to that issue, and I think that they should add in Corrosive Dosage in some form. But as always, I am excited to see what you guys have to say down in the comments. You guys have been honestly popping off lately. I always have something to read down there, so make sure that you guys tell me what you guys think about these changes and about Corrosive Dosage. If you think it should be added, I'm excited to read all that down below. But thank you guys so much for all the support lately. You guys are absolutely popping off, making my dreams come true. I mean, you guys are truly amazing. And if you've watched this far, then join me in thanking my Patreons. If your name is on the screen right now, you are honestly, you're carrying this channel. So thank you guys so much. Shout out to my Patreons once again. But guys, that's gonna do it for this video. If you like this video, if you like this discussion, make sure and hit that like button on your way out. But guys, go ahead and make sure that you're still subbed down below. YouTube likes to unsub people, apparently. Apparently it's been an issue lately, so make sure that you're subscribed. And guys, I appreciate you so much for all the support, for making my dreams come true. I'll go ahead and get out of here, but thank you so much. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, take care.